Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening. With the knowledge that Celtic do have a younger player heading into Celtic Park to become our third choice striker, it does look like our current third choice striker may go out on loan again to get some more SPFL experience. I wonder if he'll go to Neil Lennon for Neil Lennon to make him a bit of a better player. Anyway, another Celtic B team player has left the building. Yep, Joey Dawson. Joey Dawson's another striker who has left Celtic. It says on the Celtic website that the highly rated youngster signed from Scunthorpe United on a 3-year deal in the summer of 2021. The 18-year-old striker joined the reserves and the Colts debuted in the Lowland League season for 21-22. He came through the ranks at Scunthorpe and at 16-year-old became the youngest ever player to play for Scunthorpe when they played against Derby County back in 2019. He went on to say when he joined Celtic, when you look around the stadium you can see the sense of the magnitude of the club. It's one of the biggest clubs in Europe without a doubt. After seeing the facilities and meeting the people, it's an honour to know that I'm looking forward to get started. Joey Dawson did make his first team debut under Ange Postecoglou in a 3-1 game, 3-1 win against St Johnstone back in 2021. He made his first team debut and then pretty much never played again. He's another striker that has left his Celtic and he's rejoined his old club, funnily enough, with a guy that looks like a bit like Matt O'Reilly. So O'Reilly's brother, who's the manager, looks awfully like Matt O'Reilly, that guy. The resemblance is unreal. But anyway, he is the first signing of the summer. He returns to the side after 4 years at Celtic. Joey Dawson's a new sign for Scunthorpe United. Scunthorpe United. I suppose if that's your level, you're not going to make it at Celtic, are you? Let's be perfectly honest. So, with that being said, I thought I would do a quick poll tonight, because I don't know how you like a poll on the channel. And I was working at that game, St Johnstone, Boxing Day 2021. Got me asking the question. I've had a look at what's going on at Celtic, and there seems to be a lot of under 18s being promoted to the B team recently, and that's what's going to make up the B team next year. So it's going to be an even younger B team next year. Players that are running out of contract this summer. Well, Joey Dawson, he's left already, even though his contract wasn't due to run out until the 1st of July. Daniel Cummins, and no, the 30th of June, sorry. Daniel Cummins, he's on his way out the building. And then you have young Toby, the goalkeeper that was at Dunfermline. He's out of contract also the end of this month. So it's going to be an interesting time, not only with Celtic, but with the B team, with so many players, including Dane Murray, out of contract next year. There is a lot of players. Mitchell Frame, he's out of contract next year. Young Liam, he's out of contract next year. And Jude Bonner is also out of contract next season. So it's going to be interesting to see if Celtic do give these guys an extended contract, and that will give you an indication whether they're going to stay at Celtic long term. Because as it stands just now, we are losing far too many players. I mean, it seems to be on a daily basis, on a monthly basis anyway, that we seem to be getting more information about players leaving the club. So it got me asking the question, do you have faith in the Celtic B team to produce players for the first team? 75% have said no, 25% have said yes. I think it's an issue that's obviously came to the fore with Brendan Rodgers, and it been widely spoken about today that the young player that is coming in is going straight into the Celtic first team. Even though he's at 19-year-old, he is not being allowed to go to the Celtic B team. So does Brendan Rodgers think that the Celtic B team is a shambles? Let's face fact. He's going back to the club he came from. He was too injury prone, unfortunately. But what players, I mean, when players get injury prone when they're younger, it's basically through overexertion, isn't it? We need to buy Shamrock Rovers team or a team in the USA, Australia, and have a network of clubs to develop players, said Kaiser. Interesting. Interesting from Kaiser. Hi. Getting shot in. Can you comment on the youth players? I haven't seen nothing. I can't comment. Richard said he can't comment on the youth players. The League of Ireland is not a high enough level, Kaiser. Fulham have got one of the best youth academies. Yep, and luckily for us, we've just stolen one of their players, and we did steal Matt O'Reilly from Fulham as well, even though he went to MK Dons before Fulham, after he left Fulham. Nobody's getting a real chance coming from the B team, says Big Bruce. Look at the situation. Doak to Everton, and now being quoted around about 20 million. We are a joke. Are we expecting a lot of stuff to come from this new complex but it must be completed now, surely? It's at the end of the season. Is this new complex down at Barrowfield going to make a massive difference to the way that the Celtic B team are coached? And does it come down to the level that they're playing at? And if Brendan Rodgers has put his foot down and said that this young guy that's coming in is coming into the first team to train with me, does it not say that he doesn't trust the guys that are running the B team, your Steve McManuses of the world? And does it not mean that that's where the changes needed to be made? Because if you keep doing the same thing again and again and again, and it's not producing the goods, surely you have to make a change within the structure, within the management, within the coaching, within the training. Surely that if the issue is at that level, that we're not producing the quality of player required, then that comes down to one thing. You know, a young kid coming through at 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old can have raw ability. The kids can have raw ability, but it's how we then channel that raw ability and turn them into a football player, you know, and playing against adults. You know, there's only so much. I suppose that if it's bad coaching, it's bad coaching, isn't it? Like he says, I've seen it. We build a new complex, so youth players train at it. We all know it's for the females team to train at. It's 20 million, not a lot of money for just a training pitch. Couldn't they have just all went out to Lennoxtown and trained at Lennoxtown? Just saying. Do you know, if it's good enough for the first team, surely it has to be good enough for the B team and the women's team. They're not all going to be training there at the same time. I mean, the men can do the morning, the women can do the afternoon. I don't know. Jeremy Frimpong from Man City Academy done the job straight away. Put James Forrest in a role with the B team and his situation. Surely James would inspire these youngsters to stay at Celtic. What a role model for the club. That's all fine and dandy, but do we know that James Forrest has the attributes to be a good coach? And when you see, I seen Scott Brown at half time, and in the foyer at BBC Scotland, they couldn't even be arsed putting a studio out for them to sit in. They had to sit in a corridor. That's the BBC Scotland all over, isn't it? Rather than spend some money on a studio for a Scotland game, for anything to do with Scottish football, to be honest, they sat them out in the corridor in the BBC building. But anyway, I see that Brownie, he's looking more and more with that tan that he's got after being in or was it he was in Dubai for the last 2 weeks on holiday with his family. He's looking even more like Brendan Rodgers. Don't laugh about the football team assembled around 30 miles from paradise. Won the big cup and shook the world. Yeah, it did, but Francis, that was a long time ago. So that was a long, long time ago. We're talking about the modern Celtic. And if you can't even compare the modern Celtic B team to the shambles that is the way that the B team is currently being run, as it looks from the outside. You know, I think that if you think the B team is doing fantastically well, I've got to say there's something wrong with you, because I from the outside looking in, when you see think back to the game that Brendan Rodgers was photographed at and videoed at, along with John Kennedy, and the two of them looked so disinterested. I mean, it was like me watching that Scotland game tonight. I got to around about 70 minutes and I thought, I can't do any more of this. Do you know, the Scotland fans, a bunch of no voters, singing songs for the 1980s, not even good ones. But anyway, I just think that the B team, as another player leaves, there has to be something wrong with the... no, it was the Rangers game, Lanky. This new 3-player loan could be okay. Queen's Park, the championship team division, we could do a lot. What do you think about Kenny would be worth? Johnny Kenny. Did we not get 5 million for O? No, we did get something like that for O, didn't we? Can't even remember where he was sold to. Right, there's one for Kaiser. If Johnny Kenny is struggling to get a game for Celtic, right, and we're loaning him out, and then you're bringing in this young guy for Fulham, who's by all accounts meant to be more prolific than Johnny Kenny, is the manager then thinking Johnny Kenny's okay, but he's not going to be better than Adam Ida? He's not going to displace Adam Ida. Maybe they're thinking to get this young guy in, and maybe it is just all about turning over the player, getting him in for cheap as anything, getting him in the first team for a couple of years, and then selling him on a couple of years down the line. So, it'd be interesting to have your thoughts on that. So when it comes to the Scotland team tonight, Tony Ralston made the game again tonight. Tony Ralston just keeps piling in the agony, doesn't he? Playing for Scotland. Tony will be just glad of the holiday, wouldn't he? And talking about people that were on holiday, Ross Dohan, who is on his way to Celtic, it's alleged. There's no confirmation. That's all. Everybody says he's coming to Celtic, but until the medical is booked, he was on holiday with his family. Ross Dohan, the 27-year-old, got the call from Scotland to go and then play in goals. Shuts the door and it's fucking boiling in here. So yeah, and what was it, 4-0 Scotland game? It finished up. I'm not being funny, like with Che Adams getting a hat-trick, they were shite, weren't they? It was a really bad game. And what did you think about it? Did any of you watch the Scotland game? Because I watched it to try and see what Lennon Miller was like in this game, because I thought it's an international game. I thought he did well for one of the goals. He set up one of the goals with a pass just on the edge of the box. He stole the ball off the that looks like the holding midfield player. He gets the pass from the goalkeeper. He nips round the midfield player, gets the ball off him, passes it to, was it Adams, Che Adams, or whatever his name is? I don't know. Fucking Scotland. It was Che Adams. Passed the ball to Che Adams puts it in the back of the net. Other than that, who if Celtic are going to go for Lennon Miller, the only player that I can see him putting out the team would have to be Arne Engels. And do you think that Lennon Miller is better than Arne Engels, considering that we bought Arne Engels for £11 million? You've got to remember, he's just a... Miller wasn't up against anyone tonight. Yeah, I know he wasn't. And that's, Jim, that's why I thought you're going to see a bit better of him. Do you know, you're going to see him dominate the game a bit. And I thought he did okay. But when I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, well, where does he fit in at Celtic? If he comes to Celtic, I think it's having seen him when Miller comes in to replace Hatate. Yeah, I suppose he could replace Hatate, but he's not as good as Hatate. I mean, and I think Hatate is a man that turns up when he wants to. And I understand that Lennon Miller is just a young guy. He is only 18-year-old. But if that's the road that we're going down, to get in this really young team, where's the fight? Where's the fight in the midfield? Do you know where's the bully boy that we're needing? Maybe that's why Celtic are trying to get this big guy in to give us a bit of height and a bit of punch about the midfield. Ginger lad from Scunthorpe, Joy Scorfield. Rio would be a massive loss, says Liam. Would he? Mr. Inconsistent. Lanky says he's definitely going to Italy. I don't know. Hatate's too inconsistent. Turned up for 10 games last season. Yeah, he did that. Shows the Scottish players are good enough for a top league, but we don't give them a chance. Yeah, we don't give them a chance, but at the same time, when you look at what they're playing against, right, that wasn't a standard. When you look at that game tonight, the Scotland game, that was an international game. It was played in an international style. Scottish football is just thuggery. Let's call it out for what it is. It's thuggery. It's opposing managers get as many 6-foot-odd players in as possible, and they don't play football. Do you know? They don't play the one-touch pass. They're just complete thugs. And people say, but it's great, it's Scottish football. But when you watch other football and you've not got elbows flying into faces and, you know, studs going down the back of your leg. And yeah, it's proper old school football, but in the modern age, a lot of younger players will not get a chance by the manager in case they get injured. Now you can then look back and say, well, Kieran Tierney did okay when he came through. James Forrest came through. But look at the size of James Forrest's legs back then. He was like a machine. And I think that the modern day football player, with just the youth of today, with their skinny little legs. But anyway, we move on for that. How did the locals take the result last night? There's a few cars with flags. I think the TV made more of a deal with it. The punters, to be honest. The locals here, mate, it was quiet. I said that to you this morning. I said it was quiet as anything. It was great because there's no fireworks going off. Now I've got to go to sleep pretty early. So yeah. But no, it was. They weren't even watched it in any. There was no great numbers watching it in the pubs. I don't know. Maybe didn't fancy it. Thuggery, that's the reason KT is in the medical state he's in before he went to Arsenal. Do you think so? Do you think that it was all the damage and the tackles that he had in the Scottish game, and that's what ultimately ruined his Arsenal career? I don't think so. I just think he's made of chocolate as he gets older. I read an article about Arsenal and the hamstring injury record they have over the past 5 seasons. Oh, interesting. Forrest had rugby players' legs at 15. Yeah, he did that. If Scottish football is thuggery, then it should be marketed as such. That's why the MMA is taking over from boxing. Play to your strengths. Yeah, Pat, play to your strengths until you go up against European teams in European football. And then it doesn't work. Because football wins. It always does. The footballing team wins. It's been shown over the years. So, yeah. Tarmac. I definitely do. And it might have been. Trubaz, fast-paced thuggery. There's no space for a player to dwell on the ball and create his hammers at dawn. It is, Kaiser. It is. Do you know, it's... I mean, people say, Scottish football's brilliant, it's dead fast and everything. But you're taking the talent out of the game. The trickery. Have we lost that? I mean, how would Paul McStay manage in the modern game? How would John Collins fare in the modern game? Do you know, there's been lots of players throughout the Celtic history that were fantastic football players that could run with the ball and take players on. Tommy Burns. But in the modern game, they would never last 5 minutes. They would never last 5 minutes because they'd be kicked all over the place. And then that's to do with the state of Scottish football and the managers again. Continental players roll more with the crock that's between the teeth. I don't trust Brendan Rodgers when it comes to youth players at Celtic. He talks about it, but there's nothing more than spin, says Paul Baird, who is going into the new season the same way as he's went into every season, hating Brendan Rodgers. That's why the Italians had to change the way they played football in the 1990s. Because it was thuggery? They dived more than anything. And they changed the way they played football because the Italians got busted for so much corruption that nobody would dare make tackles. Making your tactics passing back sideways will kill talent in the team. So when you're playing with... I know what you're getting at. You're trying to have a dig at Brendan Rodgers. But when you've got the whole opposition team sitting in a formation on their 18-yard box, how do you break that down? Because the close one-touch passing isn't working because they're that tightly packed. So you have to go back and pass it back. You know, you have to pass it side to side to try and get them to move. But in Scottish football, do you know, they play the whole of Scottish football played the way that Ange Postecoglou played the Europa Cup final. Just sit back and defend, boys. You've got the goal. They need to break you down. Sit back, defend. You know, kick the ball up the park. If we get a shot, we get a shot. It's 1-0 up. It's fine. We don't need to do anything else. How do you break that down? Richard says, I've done that one. Lanky says, I can see KT playing left centre back. When he changed formation for certain games, we'll go to a 3 at the back, as we don't have enough cover in midfield. If that's the case, how did we, a superior football club to Sevco and others, only win 2 trophies? Look at the way that we played. We were shite in the final. We were shite the last game of the season at Celtic Park. We were not the superior team. We were garbage. There's no way that you could say that we were the better team in the final. And I said it after the performance of the players up in Aberdeen. But Tommy, 55. As thugs were worse in the McStay and Collins era. But you knew the tackles were coming. Right? So you could jump out the way of it. There wasn't the pace. You could see a sliding tackle coming for about 20 yards. Today you've got the fast, you've got the pace, the modern athlete football player is way faster than Collins and McStays and your Tommy Burns. Way faster. So with the running at pace and the tackling at pace, I think it makes it worse. So anyway, Maradona still the best. We need an aerial master who scores all the corners we get. We need someone about 6'7" then. We need someone about 6'7". I don't try and have a dig. I have the dig, says Paul. Kaiser's been screaming 3-5-2 since Brendan came in. That will happen. You break down by shooting from outside the box, as Steen did. That's fine, but when, like I say, when you've got so many players, it's hard to find a space to get even a shot away because they're anyway. Say we got battered in the final. No big, no strong enough. Exactly, Pat. We got absolutely battered in the final. We were terrible. Who did you say Bolt play for, Baz? No idea. Why would I? Why would I have an idea? Anyway, it's just a quick half an hour one tonight. Celtic news, it is all a bit quiet. We're waiting for the news coming out tomorrow that a player has had his medical at Celtic and that Celtic will have stolen a young player from Fulham. And that's the most excitement that we're going to get before the transfer window closes tomorrow night. What time does it close tomorrow night? Is there a certain time, or does it just get to midnight and it goes, right, that's it. That's it, shut. But when the official date is, it slams shut. Slams shut the window. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for the night. It's just a quick one to talk about young Joey Dawson, who has left the Celtic B team. He was given his first start at Celtic under Ange Postecoglou. You know what I mean, mate? Tony Ralston gets the start for Celtic tonight. Young Ross, well, he's not young anymore because Ross Dohan's now 27. Ross Dohan also gets a start for Scotland tonight. Will he be paraded as a Celtic player within the next couple of weeks? Who knows? Because after tomorrow, we need to wait until the 16th. So we've got just a week of just making stuff up. Anyway, on that note, Kaiser, if you're still hanging around, well, where's the screen? It's gone. I've sent you a WhatsApp. I'm going to try something out. In fact, just did just now. Kaiser, going to WhatsApp. I'm just going to try this live if he decides to go into WhatsApp. Sometime tonight, Kaiser. The rest of you have permission to leave the room. What did I do that? Where's the control room? Video Ninja. No, it's giving you a link. Because if this link works, I can then copy it and get you on. Let's just try it live just now. Sometime tonight, like. It's just a link. It's like waiting on paint dry, this bit, isn't it? VOD Ninja's loading. Big shout out to Turner's Irish Bar in Marmaris. There we go. Sending you a blue waffle. Lawwell's just asked Hibs how much they want for John McGinn. Evening to you, Stephen Johnson. Oh, there he is. Hello. Can't hear what you're saying. How can I? Yeah. How can I not hear you? Speak. Unmute. I've got to put headphones on to hear it. Headphones on this. Hello. Nope. Ah, there you are. Right. Wait a minute. I can hear you now, aye.
Yeah, you need to plug him in.
Right, wait a minute. View link. Copied. Right, 2 seconds. Aye, 2 seconds. Browser.
Take your time, mate.
I'm just waiting to see if this works. There we go. I don't know if you're going to be on the screen though. You're on the screen. We have Kaiser on the channel. Let me just see if it's coming through. Go and talk, see if it's coming through. Right, I need to turn down. It's not working. Oh, a minute. It's gonna. It's too. No, it's not that. It's because it's echoing. Wait a minute. What if I do this? I'll stick my earphones in. I don't know if it's coming through the thingy though. Wait a minute. Is that you now? Speak, Kaiser. No. Ah, there we go. I can hear you now, but there's a little bit of echo. Right. How's that not? It's not coming through on its own. Ah, no, there's too much echo in it. Right, we'll sort that out later. Right, what's going on here? Word of advice. My phone just cracked there. Aye. Right, okay, no. Right, we'll cut this down now because it's oof. Leave. That's that done. Right, anyway, I'm going to finish this up. We'll be a completely different next season. For the Moon Howlers. That's been done and dusted. They're going to finish up that poll. 131 votes. Do you have faith that the Celtic B team? Celtic B team will produce players for the first team. 72% said no. 28% said yes. Anyway, that's us done for the night. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.